Just as Rudy Giuliani is a member of Donald Trump's inner circle, so is Michael Cohen, who was Donald Trump's personal attorney for years and who saw Trump and Giuliani up close. In 2018, Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to campaign finance violations for organizing hush money payments for the Trump campaign as well as other crimes. Since then, he's spoken out about what his time working for Donald Trump was really like, including his book, Disloyal, a memoir, the true story of former personal attorney to President Donald J. Trump, and his podcast, Mea Culpa. Michael, it's good to have you on. Can you give me
well,
your...
I'm not so sure after that introduction. Jeez, boy, you really paint me out into something.
Well, I'm just reciting the record, Michael. I mean, you and I, the world is what it is and the facts are what they are. You're now here. You're telling the truth as you see it about the president.
Chris, I also do want to turn around and say, in all fairness to Rudy, he was actually looking for his mask. All right. And, during
the infamous Borat scene, you think...
Yeah. He was looking for his mask to, save social distancing.
I think that's probably right. We may hear that from him. Well, can you explain to me? I mean, I wanted to talk to you tonight because I find the thing that I find most sort of striking about Donald Trump as president, particularly, is sort of how easy it is to get to him. How many different people are able to get a vector to the president with a deal they have, a contract they want, a special business policy maybe they can sell him on, whether he's at his club or whether Levin Igor in a back room with him having a dinner. And my question to you is, like, what is Rudy's role right now in this world? Like, how do you understand Rudy's role?
Well, that's a two-part question. The first is really to answer why Donald Trump is so easily susceptible. And you really have to think of him as no different than like a donkey with a carrot in front of him. The only difference is that the carrot is $1. And he's willing to sell out this country for his own personal gain. Now, as it relates to Rudy Giuliani is really no longer relevant in this campaign. First of all, they all know that they're going to lose the campaign. So everybody's kind of running right now for cover, and that's including Rudy. This last one with Borat is sort of the icing on the cake. Rudy's become a complete joke, and there's absolutely no reason to have him around. In all fairness, too, Rudy and Chris Christie are really the ones that turned around and told Trump that what you want to do is to interrupt Joe Biden as much as possible in the earlier debate, because Joe Biden is known to have a stuttering issue, and that the way that you throw a stutterer off is really just interrupt every word that he says. So Rudy's usefulness is no longer relevant, and he's going to be gonzo as well.
I should know that Chris Christie has denied that he gave that advice, just to put that onto the record. But the point about the donkey and the carrot to me is sort of one of the unifying theories here, and it's important for a lot of things. I mean, people say, well, why has the president acted the way he has towards Putin? And of course, he's been, extremely complimentary of Xi in China and Erdogan in Turkey and the Saudis in MBS. And I think just like the Occam's razor is, he wants to do deals in those countries. He wants to make money with those countries. No. He's thinking about what he's going to do after. What's your account of it?
No, that's the second part of it. The first part is he admires them because they're autocrats, because they are dictators in their country. Putin doesn't have to run. He's the president for as long as he wants to be president. The same with Kim Jong-un, Xi, the same thing, Erdogan, Duterte, Maduro. That's why he likes them. Now, on the second part, yes, he wants to do deals because it's financially beneficial to him. He's willing to sell out America and the American people all for $1. That's when we started the campaign. You have to remember, the entire campaign was predicated around the Donald Trump adage that this is going to be the greatest infomercial in the history of American politics. It was all about building the brand, the Trump brand. Instead, because he's a dummy, what he ended up doing is messing everything up. He destroyed whatever was left of the brand, and now there's nothing going to be left when he ends up getting indicted by a multitude of different investigations.
That's one of the ironies here, of course, is that for all the corruption and all the kind of pettiness of the ways in which different people's fingers have been in different troughs, that it has been bad for the Trump business, right? I mean, the Trump family business in 2020, it seems to me, is in bad shape. And that itself might create its own dangers and exposure in the person who is the president of the United States.
Well, Chris, no. Don't forget, he's the greatest negotiator. He can negotiate any deal that you want. He's the greatest, and whatever deal, I'm a great deal maker. No, you're not, Mr. President. You're not a great deal maker. Actually, you're a lousy deal maker. You were fortunate enough to have some good people around you, and you were fortunate enough to have Daddy's money coming into the game. Short of that, he would probably be just like Atlantic City, broke.